The thing is that this topic is normally construed as slightly controversial because I know the last couple of days, last 2 days, today included, you've been having discussions on AI and ML and I'm including AR, augmented reality. Now, what we've been doing is instead of talking specifically on talent acquisition, what we're doing is we're relating it to the business of retail. And I think one of the things that Stephen Hawking did say was if AI is ever fully developed, you're going to see the end of the human race because that means universal basic income and then the human race itself dependent on machines. But I think that's a scary thing that everybody's been looking at. And it sort of brings in a certain amount of fear. Is it going to happen today? Is it going to happen in the next couple of years? Nobody knows. But one thing is for sure, there are people who've been seeing these trends over the last 20, 25 years. And we have an esteemed panel over here. One thing I'm going to request after having spoken to them is that the questions that I'm going to ask them don't construe the answers as representative of their organizations, but something to do with their cumulative experience. Now, I don't know if many of you have been watching, AI has taken over retail in a different way. It has to do more with customer experience. It has to do more with the fact that there are analytics about what customers feel, their in-store experience. During COVID, the very fact that you had put a stop to people rushing into stores was an opportunity for people to actually start testing AI and automation. If you look at Amazon Go, if you look at Walmart, if you look at in the Middle East Carrefour, they all have experimented with it and they've seen that there's a possibility to replace humans in the interface. But does that mean retail as a sector is going to see a lesser influx? So what we're going to do is we're going to ask these experts here about what they think in correlation with what they've seen over the last so many years, not just in their current profiles. So I'm going to start with Ashish. Ashish is the Chief Marketing Officer. He's the odd one out, so I'm starting with him. He's the Chief Marketing Officer of Home Credit. The reason he's here on the panel is because his is very manpower intensive as an organization. At the same time, they're one of the few organizations which have started inculcating AI automation in their processes. And that's because most of the target audience that Home Credit caters to is at the bottom of the pyramid. Ashish has had an illustrious career. He's worked with almost every sector, telecom, agri, insurance. So Ashish, I'm going to shoot the first question to you. And that is that, in your experience, do you ever think in the next 5 years, AI can replace human intervention completely?
See, I would like to say, in fact, this is a concatenation of our minds that we are thinking, not only 5, but I can safely say, 5 is a very small time period. You take our next 50 years, replacement of humans completely is impossible. And I'll tell you the reasons, okay? See, when we talk about AI, and let's come out of our Bollywood thoughts and Hollywood thoughts for a moment. Let's come to the realm of business. Business is all about improvement every day. Brands, the sole purpose of a brand is to take off a cognitive load out of a head of a consumer. So when you make a decision, the less cognitive load in that decision, the more are the chances for you to make that decision. Okay, for consumers. AI is going to be an enabler working by the side of a customer, by the side of a business, by the side of a human to be able to provide better experience. Today's consumer is not the yesterday's consumer. His expectations are different. We are talking about personalization. Earlier people used to talk about as long as it is black, it's a car. Then you talked about colored cars. Today we are talking about customized to your needs. And that customization is impossible. For example, just to give you an example, in my business, I process 50,000 loan applications a day, okay? Out of which 30,000 decisions are positive or negative, either way. Now think about it. And when you look at 50,000 over 24 hours, look easy, but I'll just make it a little bit more realistic. Most of the business happens between 4 to 7 to 9 p.m. So out of 50,000, 80% of that comes, which is about 40,000 applications are getting passed or processed in that 6 hours. which is like there are times when you have 1,000 applications per minute in the queue. And the decision to give out that from anything from 20K to a 2 lakh or 5 lakh rupees in less than 30 seconds. You are making a decision based on only 2 data points. A person's name, Aadhaar card, PAN number, without even knowing that person. It isn't humanly possible. We use AI not only for underwriting, I use AI, and it's not that I have started using yesterday. AI has been in business for last 20 years. It's just that, as always it happens, one intervention will come and suddenly everybody will talk about it. We are talking about AI because of probably some of you have looked through ChatGPT. You have created a couple of questions out there. Couple of you would have logged on to Bada, trying to play around with it. These are the tip of the iceberg. You cannot replace HI, which is human intelligence. Because of AI is, whether we like it or not, it's a byproduct of HI. And humans, the way humans, nature has made them, the creativity of human is always exponential. AI works, if you go on the core of AI, it's a objectification, it's a process, it's a circumvention or circulation of objectification into a process. So what is it? AI at the core of it, doing the same thing again and again and again and again. And somewhere, it's a spiral which goes up and down. It cannot take, none of the AI, at least I am known, and I've been pretty active onto the scene, none of the AI I have known which can take a leap of faith. Humans can. And till the time AI cannot take a leap of faith, humans have a life.
No, so are you saying that you will never replace your front end? Because you're talking about analytics, right? Processing. What about the front end?
At the front end, we use AI to empower the human. So earlier, a person, when you go to speak to, say, a consultant or a financial consultant, he'll ask you 30 questions, and then he will make a guess, saying that, oh, he wears a black suit, so probably he drives a black car, hence this solution. Today, he'll ask you 3 questions, punch them into the system, and then the output will come, and he will use that output to correlate basis your situation. He will have data points, things like Sam has spoken to call center, Sam was on my website, looked at these 3 things, Sam offline was checking around 3 more stores, whereas the data was being captured, Sam has been into an outlet, looked at the pricing of 3 different categories, all that data come together, and then the analytics at the back end, which is the data crunching, and then layered on the marketing creativity comes out with an offer saying that if I pitch Sam, probably if you're buying a car, I would pitch you a BMW 6 Series black color. That's more possible than saying Ford EcoSport black color. So that's where AI is being used at the front end. And this is just, I'm telling you just one tip of it, what we are using. There are multiple use cases. Try and understand. Okay, and let's break the AI for a moment. What is AI? There's a repository of data, and we might be talking whatever, but we are living in a data explosive world. And whenever we talk about data, we all think data is essential in perpetuity. The reality is that 70% of your data is either a dead data or about to die data. Only about 30% data, and best of the businesses do not have more than 30% of the data, which is perpetuity data. Your perpetuity data is about your date of birth, about your name, probably in India, name, or a couple of other things. Rest all data is data in motion.
Correct.
The technology, the reason why AI is becoming important is because of people are expecting services when I want it, where I want it, how I want it. It's about the timeliness of the service, quality of service, quality of conversations. When you put this entire data into a framework and create a possible capsule of information which can be fed to your frontliner, human to human connection can be created. That's where I think the businesses which are going to win are going to be the businesses which use it this way. If you replace the humans completely, I mean, think about it. We are a nation, human as a race. All of us know if you pinch in a tomato, it's going to get rot. Do we know that? How many times have you bought a tomato without pinching it? You go to buy a fruit, you go to buy a cloth, you will, even if you are ordering it online without a human interface, you will still want to try it out, send it out, and if you are in a problem, you will want to speak to another human. This human connection is very, very important. Absolutely. And at no point in time in a business which is retail, which is about experience, retail to my mind, is not about selling. It's not about the products. It's more about the experience which you get. And that's the reason one retailer is more successful than another. You might have whatever calculations you have on per square feet, but it's about what in-store experience you provide. And that experience, do you think robots are going to look at you in all scenarios? They can smile at you, which is a plastic smile, but will that smile get you the same smile which a human smiles at you? Have you ever yawned looking at a yawning picture of a robot? But if I yawn right now, you would. And that's the human connection which you cannot build using AI.
So one of the reports that recently came out talked about the fact that AI is being wired to be compassionate, is being wired to become empathetic. Now those are very human words, actually, when you think about it. So I'm going to actually talk to now. The next question I'm going to ask is to Mallika. Now Mallika is in the hot seat of action because she's the HR head of Reliance's Tira thing, the beauty venture. Now it's a 2 lakh. Now listeners, it's a 2 lakh crore market, the beauty market, and she has a couple of competitors, as in the brand has a couple of competitors. Now you're right now acquiring, you're hiring a lot of people for all the formats, right? And you've got this thing right now where there's an influx of AI tools coming in, automation coming in. Has this changed your acquisition strategy?
So you've asked me a sensitive question, yeah? When you name competitors and it becomes sensitive, I need to choose my words carefully. And, I'd make another kind of qualifier or a conditions apply here that if I sound pompous at any point of time during what I'm going to say, please pardon that. That's not the intent. It's just pride in the brand that I represent. So, Tira is... well, it's just at a baby stage, if I may, at this point of time, a month old with the public launch. I've hired people, yes, but the beauty and personal care segment is still a lot about, expects a lot personalized service out there, right? We operate out of 2 channels, which is both the online as well as the offline channel. Now, online may depend, the customer experience on the online channel may have a play which leans more towards tech, defining what the customer experience is, right? So if I'm onto the online site and I'm trying to order something, how fast is the site loading? How fast am I getting, the products that I'm searching for? Am I getting the right listing? That's what defines my experience versus, interaction with a person, and hence, what kind of experience that I get there. Versus getting into the offline space, and our first store is just opened at Geo World Drive. I will not lose any opportunity of promoting that. So those of you that haven't visited the store, please do so. Again, with a sense of pride, I say, we are aiming for it to be one of a kind offline beauty store in the country. So that is a play where the customer experience leads more towards the personalized experience. So yes, we've got technology working at the store. We've got some, I would say, gimmicky stuff happening at the store, banking on technology. But when you walk into a store, of a beauty product store in a Geo World Drive kind of a space, what you're looking for is more of a personalized experience. Hence, the people that I'm hiring for this store, there are people that are excellent with customer service, that of course understand what beauty is, can make those recommendations. So coming back to what you asked me, am I using a lot of technology? Let me just say that I'm using technology to enable my decisions, but the kind of people that I'm choosing still remains a lot about making those decisions personally, evaluating those people.
No, but considering, I'm just sorry, I'm just trying to understand, considering that a lot of the things that are happening in AI are happening in the last couple of,
correct,
say 1 year, 2 years.
Yep.
Can you sort of would you rework your strategy on acquiring all these, hiring people, and would you replace it with technology at some of the areas?
So it again depends on what I'm hiring for. If it's, a standard kind of competency set that I'm looking at, I would probably look at those functions. So maybe a lot of the, I wouldn't even say frontline stuff. I would use technology to sort of do a first level clearance for me in there. But when I'm looking at very specialized functions, a very specialized skill set, I would be a little hesitant about using pure technology for the kind of skills that I'm looking at. And end of the day, Sam, I'm, with so many years of experience in human resources, I stand very firmly a proponent of human resources. So I'm actually very happy to hear Ashish go before me, and my chat with him before this, he says, oh, well, I use AI, I use a lot of technology, I've been in technology for years, but it was really heartening to hear him when he says, I don't think it's ever going to replace the human touch, the personal experience, and that's exactly what I would also say. So I would, again, come back and say, I would use technology as an enabler to whatever kind of decisions that I would take in terms of whether it's hiring or anything else for that matter within human resources.
Okay, Ashish, I'm just going to come back, but let me just now go to some of the formats. So we have Mukta here. She's had diverse experience. She's been actually in BFSI, she's been in publishing, and now she's with a premium to luxury brand, Marks & Spencer's. The thing is, she plays a dual role. She's not just the HR head, she's also the head of sustainability. And one of the things of sustainability is that you've got to be extremely perceptive about people, right? And so my question here is that, you ever think that the premium to luxury sector can actually be, I'm not saying completely replaced, but do you think that there could be a point where AI would dominate their experience and you'd have suddenly, let's say, an augmented reality, something projecting saying, can I take care of you? You ever think that scenario will ever come?
See, I think, fantastic question, Sam, and good afternoon, everyone. I think AI is also at an early stage. AI still has a lot of evolution to happen. And as much as it's advanced over the last couple of years quite significantly, it is still going to make more strides in terms of how it evolves. Now, actually, I'm more aligned to my co-panelist where they say the experience aspect of interacting with customers is actually something that can be blended quite beautifully. You do need human element from a service standpoint, but you can bring in the wow factor through, the gadgets that you can involve or the ease of operation that can come in terms of delivering that experience. So from a frontline, in-store experience of a premium to luxury brand, the human touch can't be taken away because there is a certain level of service that one expects when you enter. You can add some elements of AI to make it feel more premium, to make it feel more technologically advanced. But at the end of the day, the customer is looking for that recommendation, for the customer service representative to understand what their choices look like and make those recommendations. And they can be enabled around those recommendations through AI. Yet, in the back end, when we look at our operations, the simplification, how can we ensure that the frontline person or executive is enabled to allow for better recommendations because there's data behind it? Or how is the supply chain efficiency ensuring that there is optimum inventory and being able to sell different aspects of or different kinds of products? So I think AI, if I were to break up in terms of what it can do, it can bring huge operational efficiency. It'll challenge humans in those operational efficiencies because certain jobs can be impacted, and that's where it's up to us to keep upgrading skills and learn new ways to work with AI. But when it comes to, and in fact, data-driven decisions is an enabler where humans and AI can work together quite beautifully to land an enhanced and elevated employee experience. So I think AI should be used as a friend more than anything else.
So most of what you're saying in terms of analytics, CRM, right, in terms of converting data to information, that's somewhere in between, isn't it? And you see the front end, I mean, you guys are fighting a lot for the front end, I've noticed that. So I'm going to go to, let's say, airport retailing, right? Siddhartha is now, he's been the last 10 years, he's been with the Delhi duty free. He manages a hell of a lot of people. I don't want to say the number, it's considerable. But the one thing about airport retailing is, unlike neighborhood retailing, or you go to your malls, you start getting familiar with some of the people that you, in the stores that you start shopping with. But in airport retailing, there's no familiarity with people. So can't you actually, just for the fact that you can actually look at convenience and experience, and you don't have time, right? So you just shop and walk out, or you pick up a gift. Can't you replace people in airport retailing formats and have an augmented reality experience and they just pick up the stuff and just walk out? You can do that, right?
So thank you, Joe, and thank you, Udit from Unison, the founder of Unison, and the team for inviting me to an esteemed forum like this. Wonderful to be a part of this forum. To answer your question, Joe, I'll answer it in two parts. I was reading a research which says that AI market, global AI market in retail across the globe would reach up to $46 billion by the year 2032, with an annual growth rate of 18.5% year on year till the year 2032. Now that's massive. And obviously duty-free businesses across the globe would take a fair share on that. Now having said that, there are three areas which I see duty-free businesses are putting their effort on. One would be hyper-personalized marketing automation system, wherein a person would get a personalized, message rather than a generic promotional message. There's a duty-free company which is already investing into that. They have already identified 80 customer behavior-based patterns based on their shopping patterns and their dwell time on their website. And by the next 2 years, it will reach 200 behavior-based patterns. So that's the kind of focus on marketing automation is happening. Second, operational efficiency, as my fellow panelists said. Inventory planning, that's where we are working extensively, which is automated replenishment system, inventory planning, and having the right SKUs on the shop floor at the right time, because we are a company which sees 50,000 passengers every day. And out of every 4 minutes, we are serving a passenger and we are billing. Third would be a personalized customer experience. Now, there are a lot of duty-free retailers who have entered into virtual reality in terms of pop-up stores. You go into a pop-up store and they've created a pop-up store where they transform you to a utopian city. Like, for example, it's created in Singapore duty-free. And that's an amazing work that they've done. I mean, you have robots serving you with wine or whiskey tasting. So that's the kind of innovation which is happening in duty-free business. Now, coming to the second part, which was your question. Let's all understand that when we travel, and especially internationally, we already plan ahead. We already plan way ahead in terms of booking the hotels or booking our tickets. And when the day of travel arises, that's where our anxiety starts. And that's something called customer travel trauma. So right from leaving your house intact with security systems and leaving your family in good hands, to reaching the airport on time, getting the security clearance, boarding gates, immigration clearance, and then that's where duty-free space is there with you, welcoming with both the hands. So that's where personalized service matters the most. And that's where warmth and empathy matters the most. Now, it's unimaginable to think, and as you were mentioning briefly, that how would AI accommodate warmth or emotional quotient or empathy to an already stressed passenger who's running towards the boarding gates, who's running towards collecting his bag after reaching the duty-free space. So within a very short span of time, and that's what I've done throughout my career, first 10 years in hospitality and the next 10 years in retail, is always training and focusing people on having the right customer, giving them the right behaviors in terms of training them on emotional quotient. People are really educated, and especially people who travel internationally are really educated. They know the prices very well, and they know what the other duty-free retailer across where the next destination is priced at. So within a very short span of time, we have to ensure that the customer buys from us.
Siddhartha, I'm just going to ask you a question.
Right.
You talked about training, right? Now, with AI and augmented reality, you don't have to train. Right. You can get the consistent level of emotion or empathy.
Right.
If you're able to find out what's a peak level of emotion. So why do you need people? I'm just asking, not because I have a reason.
Right.
I'm just asking you.
So, first thing is, with AI coming in a big manner, yes, we do have data analysts, we do have business analysts across various companies at various levels. But data literacy is something which is very important to develop within the current team members that we have. Now, there's a big data around us. what do we understand and what do we infer out of that? How do we analyze that data? Now, personally speaking, yes, I do analyze my employees' performance data or the manpower data. Now, how would businesses analyze data is something which is very important. So data literacy is something very important. Maybe companies should look at hiring AI specialists, because even if I plan to go ahead and buy AI from outside, I need to understand what that AI would do for my company, or I'm just doing for the heck of it to just compete with the other companies. So this is something which is very important. So data analysis would place a very important role in the retail sector. And as my fellow panelists were saying, warmth and empathy. Now I wonder how a robo would infer that. Imagine you walking into a duty-free store or a luxury retail store and a robo greeting you. How would you feel about that? And because there are a lot of unpredictable scenarios in a travel retail. At times you're missing your flight and you're rushing towards your gate. At times the person already has done pre-booking and he misses to collect his already shopped product. So that's where...
Tough to perceive robots or any kind of AI trying to sort of manage tantrums, right?
Right.
So, anyway, I'm going to, because of lack of time, I'm going to move to Kartik there. Kartik is the Chief People's Officer of the Good Glamm Group. Now, the question I'm asking him is not related to actually his career or anything of that sort, because Kartik is an avid social media buff. He keeps writing these beautiful, thoughts in terms of what he thinks, related to, of course, HR and people management. Kartik, during COVID, right, there was a big transition of people getting comfortable at home. Don't you think that sort of paved the way for AI to sort of move in? Suddenly you had, things like Carrefour's, supermarket formats, which didn't require people anymore. The fact that you had to maintain a distance meant lesser people manning stores. You had artificial intelligence surveys. You could have digital mapping of consumer preferences. You could have monitoring of stores to ensure was there some suspicious activity happening. So it could actually be a manless, personless kind of a store, right? Do you think, for the way, you've been sort of putting your ideas on this, do you think that scenario will ever come that, like Siddhartha said, and I think it was Mukta who said, that unless we try it, it's not going to happen, right? But do you think we should try it, or should we, for the fact that Indians are a little more sentimental and emotional, we shouldn't try it?
One, I'm more a and person than or person. So I think the conversation till now has been, it's either humans or AI. I think it's more and, right? So I think the idea is to coexist. See, Henry Ford said something beautiful, right? If I asked people what they want, they would have said faster horses, right? So obviously every innovation at first meets resistance, right? When Steve Jobs said that there is going to be an iPhone without a keypad, the world laughed, and I'm assuming most people now love iPhones, right? So fundamentally, I think everybody has pretty much agreed to it. Also, we are from HR, right? So you're almost putting my job on thread if I say, okay, human beings can completely go away. But fundamentally, I think we are very far from it. I don't have anything special to add. I think everybody is in some ways repeating the same point. I don't see this transition. We have kind of obviously become more, we are in closer proximity, right? Of course, life has changed. Of course, OTT has reduced theater business. Of course, grocery at home has changed a bit of lifestyle. But the guy who's coming to deliver at home is still a guy, right? Absolutely. So I think it's not even a question. I think we are far from it. And even if it's happening, I don't think anyone on the stage is visionary enough to almost imagine if it can really happen.
Yes. Yeah. Thanks, Kartik. I'm actually going to take the next question to Parul. And the reason I think I kept Parul for the end, for the one-on-one question, is because Levi's is one of the companies which has always dabbled with technology. I think over 150 years, by the way, she's going to say that, 150 years of the 501. So it's been actually the fact that they've mechanized, automated. They're one of the first people to have experimented with body scanning, if I'm not wrong. Right, Parul? Now, do you ever think at some point Levi's would take the plunge? And I'm talking about India. I'm talking about, let's say, the US, or the Europe, because they say that about 2/3 of the jobs in Europe is going to move away. I mean, it's going to be replaced by AI in the next 5 years. So do you think there'll be a point where you're going to walk into a Levi store and everything from your fit of body scanning to everything, because I'm not saying it's a commoditized product, but Levi's is a product that one can walk into and just pick up. It's something that anybody picks up every day. There's no consumer segmentation to that point that even a person at the bottom rung of the consumer segment would want a Levi's.
So thanks, Sam, and good afternoon, everyone. And thanks for promoting the 150th year of 501. Thanks. And Sam, I'm just a pun. I mean, a good try for removing all the humans from the store. I mean, all your questions ended by that, but I'm sorry, the panel here is quite strong. So I would just want to kind of step back to all the reflections that have come back to saying whether we talk about AI, whether we talk about AR, RAP, and all of that, we're kind of talking of all of these in the same breath. But all of that really has to be in the service of the business. It cannot coexist if there is no incremental revenue or incremental growth that's happening because of all of what we do, be it AI, automation, et cetera, et cetera. Now, like most of the panelists mentioned, now, how are we using AI? How are we using data analytics, et cetera? It's really to kind of, better our efficiencies around demand forecasting, personalization, better product recommendations to our consumers, dynamic pricing, and all of that. Yeah, all of this, we believe, is definitely going to be incremental to the business. And what it's doing in the side is kind of taking away very boring, mundane, and kind of jobs which probably our, store staff were not being able to do. So the way I see it is that, AI is not in isolation. It's actually an augmentation of the humans. And actually, I would take a very, very different spin on it, saying that actually I probably see more humans in the floor, because what AI and all of these things are helping us do is to drive more consumers to the store. Now, when you drive more consumers to the store, you actually need more people in the stores. I think what's going to change is what's the expectation of our store staff. Now, in the past, probably the expectation of the store staff really was to saying, hey, what's come? You kind of share with them the standard product portfolio that you always used to sell to them. But now, actually, the expectation is to already know who's coming to your store, already know whether that person's birthday is this month or that month, actually tell them and offer them something that we know they already bought in the past, and be far more aware about the consumer that's coming in the store. So I feel there is a lot of capability enhancement that we are expecting from the staff that we are talking about in the retail store. And I just feel that, AI is probably putting a lot of emphasis on saying, how are we driving these capabilities within our stores, rather than saying, am I really taking away people from the store? So I think 150 years down the line, do I see that there's body scanning, there is digital kiosks and all of that? Yes, I do feel all of this should come if it's the pace at which we are going. But do I see that all of this can happen without very, very talented people in the store? No, it cannot.
Okay, now because of lack of time, I'm going to ask a question and you're free to answer. I'm hoping that all of you have something to say about this. You have cousins, you have kids, you've got nephews, whoever it is. Okay, now what if, I'm going to ask you this in a very candid way. They come and tell you, I want to choose a career in retail. Okay, considering these circumstances, starting from Siddhartha, one line, each of you. Would you recommend a career in retail?
Certainly yes, because retail is here to stay and retail is doing wonders in the next 5 years. I mean, we have our colleague here who's managing a new business. So that means retail is booming. Yes, certainly duty-free retail across the world, and not only Delhi duty-free is booming. We came back in a big manner post-COVID. We've not only sustained, but we've surpassed our FY 19-20 results as well. So, and we are looking ahead for FY 22-23 in a big manner. So retail is here to stay, and not only here to stay, but the way technology is coming in the form of AI, retail has a great career ahead.
So you'd recommend it to your closed one or loved one, right?
Absolutely.
Mallika?
I'm going to be on your side this time, Sam. Huh? We were all kind of pushing your questions back. So, yeah, so, I've got children at that stage in life at this point of time. So, yes, retail is booming, retail is all expansive. My recommendation, if they can choose a career which blends AI within retail, I think that's the career I would recommend for them to take.
Fantastic, Mallika.
No, absolutely. I don't think there is a problem in retail. But again, as I said, I don't think they would have a choice. Even if they get into retail, technology is coming, it has come. Question is to what extent and what kind of jobs will technology enable?
But you decisively say it's your choice.
100%.
Okay. Ashish?
Sam, in fact, I would like to add a point before this, okay? And let's ask audience 2 questions. How many of us have felt bad while deleting an email? Any hands? You receive 1,000 emails every day, am I right? How do you feel bad about deleting an email? No, it just came, you just deleted. How do you feel when even you are sitting in your car and somebody comes, knocks and asks for money? How do you feel? Do you look into the eyes and say, I won't give? What do? You typically look away and typically say, nahi bhi dene ka hai, tabhi bhi ye karne ka hai. Even if you don't want to give, you'll probably look away. Till the time humans can't look at another humans into the eyes while they have to say no.
Right.
AI can't take over humans. And for that reason, I think even to anybody asking for any business where you have human connection, go ahead, it will remain. Technology is to support you. It's like Sam asking, we were having these kind of a conversations 22 years back when computers was coming in. I remember rallies around the country saying computers will take over the jobs and people will be jobless. A different kind of a job has been created. A different kind of a skill set is required. And I think as managers, as business owners, the question should not be whether AI will replace. The question is, what are you doing?
So to the students that you're teaching online, he's a professor also at the IIM. Are you going to recommend this as a career, retail and
Yes.
the consumer? You would?
Yes, I would recommend them to start learning technology so that they can work with technology to better at what they are doing.
Fantastic.
Gone are the days that you can study once and once you are into job, for 30 years you can be in a job. Now you get into a college and you remain into the college till the time you want to retire out.
Right.
And that's the way it is. And for that reason, as business owners, what I was saying is it's our responsibility to look at the cross-section of people which are working with us, working for us. How do we reskill them? Somebody who was probably speaking to customers directly would probably will need to do a different kind of a role. Are we reskilling them? The question should be, what kind of a skill set should we have? What kind of a training and development are we planning for our people? Right. It's not about replacing them. It's about re-enabling them. It's about reskilling them. And I think more jobs are going to get created with AI. You would never see IT people going out. You won't see, the way you won't see that, you won't see people in retail who are interfacing with consumers going out.
Absolutely. Mukta, would you look at a loved one who comes and tells you, listen, I want to pursue a career in retail? Would you say yes?
A yes with a twist, I would say. So I think retail, the way we've seen retail in, 2 decades ago to where it is today, it's evolved significantly. And it's continuously evolving. So as long as you've got an adaptable mindset and you're someone who can learn and continue to kind of evolve yourself, it's important to understand that mindset. But I think from a future of retail standpoint, what kind of jobs? I mean, the way the jobs are today, there is a varied nature of jobs between product, sales, marketing, etc. But the future of jobs in retail is going to be about digital, is going to be about data. It is omni experiences. It is being able to reimagine, how do you kind of bring a customer experience to life? To your point, Sam, when you said, can AR evolve in the future, the customer experiences? Of course it can. It can bring to life how a product would feel on us. It can bring to life how I can interact with my friends and family to say, does it look good on me or not in current live timing. So I think it's about being futuristic about retail. Definitely look at career, but in a way that's evolving and more futuristic.
Parul?
Yeah, I think much has been said. I think the only thing I would say is that be relevant. I think the reality is that all of us said that everything is evolving. I think what's very important for us is saying how are we relevant, that no matter what wind flows which way, we are adding value to the business. Because end of the day, that's what's important.
Yeah, and I guess today you can't dictate too much to youngsters or to others about what career should they actually choose, right? But I'm going to just summarize this now with one question. In the retail sector, okay, just tell me one function in the entire chain that you think, just one function, not elaborately, not into lines, one function you think is going to be impacted most in the retail sector with AI, ML, automation, and augmented reality.
I would say supply chain and inventory management.
I
Mallika,
would have said the same.
supply chain and inventory management? Kartik?
All back-end operations.
Back-end operations.
I think marketing.
Actually, your presentations and everything can be now made, I think in a matter of seconds, right?
Forget about presentations, everything. The entire consumer experience can be generated, and AI is getting used. I use it every day.
So Ashish has gone from one end to the other.
No,
Mukta.
I would say customer experience. Of course, marketing has a role to play, but in-store experience and omni is a big one, as well as supply chain. I think those are the two for me.
Parul.
I think to begin with, and I would probably reverse the word from impacted to say we'll have a big benefit from AI would be the entire MPIM space around planning, forecasting. I think that's a function to begin with in the AI space will benefit the most.
Merchandising, planning, forecasting.
Yes, that'll benefit the most from this.
So you've heard from the experts, and I think one of the most, and why I call them experts is because your cumulative experience, and see, listen, this sector is actually young in India, if you think about it, just 20 years, like Mukta was saying, just 20 years. But something very interesting today, if you've read the Economic Times, I was just very baffled. The UP government has put an ad, I don't know if any of you saw it, there's a tender. It says, looking for consulting firms which can help us in implementing AI in judicial reforms and quasi-judicial thing. I mean, it's an amazing ad. The UP government. You remember what we used to think about UP, right? I'm not talking about a government or politics. I'm thinking about the pace at which others are adapting. And this is a very agile industry. So I think in summary, what like all of them said, and they agreed, I think the experiential part of it is a little sensitive. I think people prefer to interact and engage with humans. Back-end supply chain and automation could be made better. But I think the coexistence of humans and artificial intelligence is the most important thing. But like Elon Musk said, if you don't regulate it, that's what he said, you're going to be calling a demon from the dark. Anyway, in conclusion, I think thank you so much for being here, flying all the way here from different places, and hope to hear more from each one of you. Thank you.